What's up guys, Dan here, Coalcracker Bushcraft. So yes, these axes, they can be super fun to use out here, but they can be super dangerous. Now I have done a lot of videos in the past that we talked about axe safety and the proper way to use these things, but just a quick recap on that. You always want to be in a good position that if this axe deflects off something, so the piece of wood that you're chopping, if for some reason it just doesn't sink into that wood and goes off, wherever that axe deflects should definitely be away from you and your body. Continuing on with that deflection, not only should it really deflect away from you and your body, but I say it should deflect into the ground. Yes, that's what I said, it should deflect into the ground, because here's the thing, I would rather this thing get a chip in it or dull the blade a little bit than you get seriously injured. So the ground is a safe bet for this thing to deflect off and into. So you can go back and watch some of those videos if you're interested more in that, which I highly recommend, and I highly recommend it when you're using one of these. You always think about axe safety because it is the most dangerous tool we use out here, but at times people don't follow those rules and injury can occur. Now hopefully the injury is very slight and minor, maybe just a little braise or something like that, that you're just bleeding a little bit and not bad, but this can be so bad that you can cut bone, you can cut off toes and fingers, you can cut arteries, and in those situations bleeding out is a serious issue. So if you follow my channel for a while, you know I'm not a big first aid kit guy. I think a lot of cuts and scrapes and slices and stuff like that, for the most part, most of that stuff can be treated by just using some type of like cotton to pack it on, or take an extra glove off, or use your hat or your shirt. I'm like a shirt guy, I'm like this, hold pressure on it and then just get out of the situation. But if you cut an artery, okay, one of the major arteries that are running through your body that's transporting blood around, stopping that bleeding is going to be extremely difficult. So whenever you're using one of these, you really should have one of these, and that's a tourniquet. Tourniquets come in all different styles, but the whole purpose of a tourniquet is to cut off blood flow and stop bleeding. Now they're used on arms and legs, not around necks or torsos, so arms and legs is where you're going to be utilizing this thing. Now I'm not a trained medical professional, so if you're going to get training on this, I highly recommend it. Seek out a wilderness first aid class or a stop the bleed class, or you can even go on the company websites that sell the tourniquets and you will be able to find some good information on there. But at the end of the day, these tourniquets, they are used literally, just like I said, to stop the bleeding. They are a device that when you place on one of your limbs, you tighten down extremely tight and it stops blood flow from going any further. So always having one of these around when you have this around is very important, but the thing is to have it around. So that means that we're not taking a big backpack with a wool blanket and everything else and burying this somewhere in there randomly, because if we do get injured, time is going to be of the essence. We really quickly have to get this thing on us to stop that bleeding, and then we can seek medical attention from there. So a couple recommendations with that. Cargo pockets are a great place to always keep this thing. The problem with cargo pockets, I found though, is you go home, you take off your cargo pants, and this thing might just get thrown on a dresser or something. You go out again and then you don't have that tourniquet. So a great alternative is if you carry a haversack, top lid of your haversack, you tuck this thing up in here, forget about it until you need it, because we generally always have our haversacks in close proximity to us. You can also go with the bottom of the haversack situation where this thing just sits in the bottom. Again, forget about it till you need it. Strap it on like this, whatever is going to work best for you, but you got to have this thing really close. I've even recently been thinking about some of the axes that we have on our ATVs and stuff like that. You can take this thing and rubber band this thing right onto the axe, that you know when you're going to use it, take off the rubber bands, set it somewhere, use the axe, back on. So lots of different options there. Depends on how you want to go about doing that. Now last two things, whenever you buy a tourniquet, okay, you want to make sure that it is from a reputable brand and you do some research on it. This is a cat tourniquet. This is what I learned on years and years ago. It's what I'm fastest with, and and I'm most comfortable using, so that's why I go with it. And that's not saying all the other tourniquet companies that make these things are bad. This is just the one that like I said, I learned on, and I'm most comfortable, and I can use it very quickly and efficiently when putting it on. You just want to make sure though you're buying them from the actual company. So this is like I said, a cat tourniquet. You don't want to buy these off Amazon because there are knockoffs out there that are floating around that just aren't strong enough to hold up from use. And then my last recommendation, get 2 of these things. Some companies, they make training ones. If they don't make training, get yourself 2. Use one as a training tool, write trainer on it or put a piece of tape on it, and then have one that you only use if there was an emergency. Now, if you know nothing at all about tourniquet, like I said, this is a tool that is going to stop blood flow. So if I had a cut on my leg and I place this around my leg this way, the goal here is to get this thing as tight as I can get it. These Velcro, these cat tourniquets Velcro, and then the windlass that's on here, this thing gets spun. Okay, it's gonna hurt a little bit. It's gonna feel super, super tight. You're gonna spin this thing and spin this thing and spin it as much as you can, and then lock it back into place until that blood flow stops to your limb, whatever limb it may be. All right, so there you go. That is today's video. Again, I'm not a medical professional, so if you want to get proper training on one of these things, which I didn't go too much into actual use of it other than it's cutting off the circulation, but if you really want to get into proper use of this, seek out professional medical training. You won't be disappointed with it, and it's valuable tools that in case you ever need it, let's hope you never need it though, but if you did need it, at least you know how to use it properly. So I highly recommend that. And even if you're not getting medical training, get one, watch some videos online, keep it in your kit. It's better to have it than not. So if you like this video, hit like and subscribe down below. You can also check us out at Coalcrackerbushcraft.com for all our classes, our blog, and our merchandise. And until next video, stay in the woods. And don't cut yourself with an axe. Not good.